Hey, you saw in this video dangers of $1,000 an ounce silver and $100,000 one BTC. I'm going to be speaking on the dangers I can see that apply to a certain type of individual, people that usually act upon exactly what I just said, hearing those kind of numbers thrown out there. So I'll give a couple examples. And this has came about because there's a lot of people I speak to in the background, a lot of people that once into metals that are now into blockchain and the likes of. And what I've worked out or came to the conclusion of, and I'd love to hear from you guys, is that they seem to be chasing a certain trend. So before I jump into this, I would like to say if you like what you see / hear and haven't done so, please do go ahead and subscribe. And also let me know your thoughts and opinions on anything that I'm going to be bringing up, and whatever you think about the $1,000 or $1,000 an ounce silver and the $100,000 one BTC, your thoughts and opinions on that, and whether you see it possible, plausible or not. So as I've just shown here, I'm going to be showing off this kookaburra set. I've showed this off once upon a time when it was picked up. This is totaling an ounce, and it's got all of the exact images from the start to 2009, I believe, kookaburra. So this is it in the gold. So it was the only time that you could actually get the kookaburras in gold. So it was before Perth did throw in the towel and quit doing them all together. You could pick up the designs in the gold. So we're going to take a look at these. I took the tops off so hopefully you don't get too much reflection, and we can see what's happening from there. So jumping into this, giving my concerns, and this is why I'm stating the dangers of the $1,000 silver, $100,000 BTC. I would say there's certain types of stackers out there, first off, and I'll break them down. I'd say there's three types, and the first type is going to be the you don't hold it, you don't own it. These are going to be the firm, hardcore stackers. These are ones that are into the metals. They can be a lot more mature, being around the block, know what they're coming from. They believe if you do not hold the actual asset you're involved in, you don't own it. So, they know fiat's needed in today's world, but they also know that it can lose its purchasing power at any time. So they know they need to hold on to fiat only to get out of it as soon as possible and put it into sound, real money. This is why you find a lot of them in, it could be property or anything of solid built. If you don't hold it, it can't be touched and felt and owned by yourself, then you don't own it. You could technically call them the sound, safe, smart money. They won't get involved in anything else because they see it as some type of a scam, be it tulip scam. There's nothing there, you're invested in air scam, whatever it may be, you'd need to ask them. Each one comes with a different clause or a different type of reason for why they won't get into anything else. So then the next type of person you would come across would be, I would say, technically a lot like the person I just mentioned. The first type of stacker, we'll refer to them as. And that person there would have the same principles. They know what is sound, real money, and that's going to be physical. They know what is a Ponzi scam. That's going to be the fiat system, the fractional lending, the debt that the world has, all governments. And they also know that if you don't own it, you don't hold it, you don't own it. But they might be more willing to take a walk on the wild side, and they would venture into other things that the first type of stacker wouldn't, i.e. maybe the stock market. Things where a lot of the if you don't hold it, you don't own it guys wouldn't venture down. And that's normally going to be something virtual, so non-physical, i.e. the stock market. It's one big Ponzi scam to the first type of stacker, but to this second type I'm referring to, they can see the benefits and the possibilities and the opportunities also. So they may definitely dibble-dabble in the stock market. They would even dibble-dabble in paper, gold and silver. So, it's definitely not far off to them. It's no fear. They know the risks that are associated with it. They know sound old money. This is how they basically make their bread and butter. The stock market is their playground. They've been putting it in stocks, whether it's Coca-Cola, Google, whatever it may be. And, this is how they've been getting along. They'll put a portion of their portfolio in there. The second type of stack I'm referring to knows the risk that comes with that, because when you are the first type, it can go kaboot, belly up any moment now, but you just don't believe, or you believe it can happen any time. But the second type I'm referring to knows that there's money to be made in between. So, they may dibble-dabble in the paper, as I've just mentioned. For them, the buck stops there. They were not willing to cross the boundary into crypto land. So they may also be more mature and have been around the block a few times, but, it's too much to take on board. As someone someone as somewhat of a reference could be someone like Warren Buffett. You know, he's been involved in all. He knows what real money is. I'm sure if you told him gold is real money, everything else is an illusion, it's not going to be a surprise to him. I understand he's the stock market guru, but he also shuns Bitcoin or blockchain as a whole. So they fall along the same lines there. So, you know, then the next type of person I'm going to be referring to, or stack I'm going to be referring to, is the stacker that I see the title of this video coming from, the dangers, you know, the 1K. They are going to know everything that I've just mentioned about the previous two stackers. So, you know, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Physical is real wealth. Fiat is an illusion. You know, it loses value over time. You know, we can have a recession and you lose everything, you know, all that goes with it. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Maybe repeating myself there. They know the dangers that come along with investing too much into the fiat and having as less or as little as possible in that system there. They may have also once upon a time be heavily involved in physical. They may have dibble-dabbled in the stock market, also maybe on paper, SLV and the likes of, but they are the new gen, whereas blockchain is for them. You know, blockchain's here, right now. You could call these types of stackers young money. These are the types of people that I'm conversing with. Now, the thing I found with these types is that what the pattern that I've seen with these guys is they would be trend or hype chasers. No offense, I'm not being rude here, but you know, this is where the 1K silver comes into it, because at once upon a time, these are the same people where, and you have your pundits, you know, I'll say the 1K silver, easily we could all point out who was preaching and screaming at the loudest. Let's just pick the top three. So, you know, Mike Mahoney would be up there. I hope he's got the name right. Chris Dwayne, you know, David Morgan. Once upon a time, whether you liked it or not, they was at the top of the hill screaming the 1K silver. You would have heard 1K plus from these guys. And the third type of stack I'm referring to here, the guys that, you know, the new gen, the young money, would have heard that call and acted upon it and jumped into that. You know, when we're talking 100K Bitcoin now, and I'll touch upon that in a moment, you have your new types, the same types of pundits that you have in the gold silver market. You've got your John McAfee's that are screaming 100K, and that's a minimum of the next halvening coming up. Hopefully I'll touch upon that as well coming up. And, you know, these people also hear these war cries. So these are war cries that pundits at some point in time have put out there and made clear. And, you know, who comes marching to that beat? And these are the types of people I'm referring to here. These types of people, the third type of stack I'm referring to here, are the types that I've come across that have actually sold all their metals. So, you know, they got into the silver, they heard the 1K silver speech. It either worked for them or it didn't, but nevertheless, no, not everybody gets into it for the right reasons. Let's be frank and honest here. A lot of people will get into it because they hear those big numbers. You can't really call it greed. They've got their money and they want to put it in the best place and best opportunities. And if that's being pumped out there and here and now, you know, 1K silver any moment now, yada, 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 you're going to find a lot of people that will fall into that. Don't be so surprised. You have people every day that fall for Ponzi schemes, you know, whether it's crypto or silvers. I see a lot of these dodgy silver companies run, not going to mention no names, you know, where you buy silver off them monthly, and or just a lot of scams that you think, I can't believe anybody would fall for that. So when you find the new hype or the new trend is 1K silver and you find a lot of people running and marching towards that, this is where I see the dangers. When you find a lot of people running them, you know, hearing the 100K BTC, this is where, you know, I'm not surprised. And this is where I see where the danger lies, because between the 1K and where the current price of silver is, there's an opportunity. You know, if, for instance, you got in the 211 highs and then you maybe sold around that same time, you had an opportunity to, you know, buy low, or if you're stacking before then, and sell high. And the same applies to BTC. We haven't seen it yet. But, you know, even in the stock market, there's a lot of people that say these things are all an illusion. You're fools for getting into these types of things. But there's always opportunities within these things being out and them collapsing. So, you know, within the time frame, sometimes it takes 1 day, 1 month. And you can think of the past Ponzi scam that's happened in the crypto world. And there was a point where a lot of people that was involved were still getting their bread. So, you know, but the danger is those that really run into these things head first, believing it's going to be all. You know, I'm conversating with people that really, truly do believe 100K BTC is next on the next run-up minimum. We're talking within the next 4 months. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. By all means, it can most definitely shoot higher. You know, there's enough evidence out there to lean towards in favor of 1K silver, you know, and 100K or 1 million dollars BTC. But the danger is when you see them dropping everything they have to chase this new trend. Realistically, the third type of person I'm referring to is the type of people that we need in the physical market to help push it to the all-time highs again and past that. When you find this new money that's really jumped out a bit and following the new bandwagon, it's somewhat dangerous, and I only see bad things happening, because whether we see it or not, I don't think it will maintain. It's a market in the end of the day. It doesn't only go up from here. What's possible and what can happen? You know, I've been speaking with people that have told me, listen, if there was another recession tomorrow, you know, you'd have more people comfortably sitting in BTC than in gold, for instance, because, you know, if it's hard time or bartering that a lot of people need to refer to, you'd find it a lot more easy to trade and, you know, transact with BTC. Not to forget, that is a currency outside of the current, you know, fiat system. So it's not like when the current fiat system collapses worldwide, BTC also collapses. So, you know, I hear what they're saying, but then I also understand when a lot of people in the physical realm, you know, precious metals, gold and silver, also say, you know, they can't believe people are investing in this and people to put their money towards the physical. We could have seen the true price of silver right now. You know, we could have broke through manipulation. The amount of money in cryptos, if it was put into metals, then, you know, you could have snapped up all the physical and would be in a great place from there. So it's interesting. It's the danger, once again, comes from people running towards these and just chasing the hype, really. You know, I see it as a big danger. I don't hear the same guys that were once upon a time screaming 1K silver screaming that no more, because you could say that hype train's come and gone. You know, the talk nowadays is when a manipulation breaks, we don't know what it'll be. You know, it'll shoot higher. There's no more numbers attached to silver, which is interesting. So it tells me the people that rallied up that war cry, you know, their job was done. The people that ran in and either got burnt and shot down or, you know, gained, I've now came out of that. I hear the war cry now behind BTC. That's all the talk. You know, as mentioned, you have the big halvening coming up. And from what I understand, that's just basically miners getting paid half of the reward that they once upon a time did. So, which should technically increase what was out there at the moment. If I botched that up a little, please do bear with me. But as mentioned, the dangers will always come from the third type when they're constantly chasing the new hype and the new scene. So I'm just putting this out there and saying, for anybody that is dumping out of metals and, you know, or still believing that 1K silver is here, do your due diligence. You know, there's always going to be people out there, McAfee and whoever it may be, putting out numbers out there. You know, they can seem as ludicrous as they are, but these people are also got their own interests, so they're not looking out for your best interests, and it really is what it is when it boils down to it. But I would say when these type of wild numbers are put out there, 1K silver, 10K gold, we all know he said that before, don't act upon it just off of impulse when you're hearing these big numbers. You know, you want to be getting into these things for the right reasons, and especially if you're putting your savings into it outside of a crash should fiat collapse from there. Don't be getting into it because you heard 100K. Don't be getting into it because you heard 1K. Get into it because you believe, be it BTC, you know, it's going to hold your money tight and it's going to be your hedge and it's going to be your insurance moving forward. Get into it because you believe gold is real money, you know, and so is silver. And, you know, should everything else go kaput, you have a physical in your hands that you can take care and move with and actually deal with from there. These are the right reasons to get into it. Do not get into it because you've heard 1K and 100K or 1 million and the likes of from there. So I just wanted to put this video out stating that there's dangers whenever you hear this 1K. Whenever you're hearing big numbers attached to the new hype scene, don't fall for it. And please do let me know anything you can add on to this and what type of stacker you are. You know, is the BTC hype caught you? And for all those that ain't into BTC, there's a lot of hype going on behind it right now. It's bouncing up and down, but there's massive numbers being called out there, and I'm getting calls from a lot of people that are wanting to, you know, come over to the dark side, technically, if you're involved in metals. And I don't hear or see too much talk these days on big numbers being thrown out there when we're talking metals, physical. So it's very interesting, you know. So I can see where the war cries are coming from now. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, guys. What do you think of 1K silver? We're going to be seeing it anytime soon, or do you now believe that to be hogwash and it's going to be what it's going to be? Nothing too ridiculous from where we are, but, you know, still good enough to where you can put your money in. And, you know, should it go bad or kaput and the system go down, you're covered. And what do you think of 100K/1 million Bitcoins being put out there? So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments, guys. Once again, if you haven't done so already, please do go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.